The 1970s were pivotal for African American women. Through the creation of seminal political and literary organizations, they created the infrastructure for the modern Black feminist movement. Black women have lived the twin realities of racism and sexism that exist at the intersection of their identities. To speak to these issues, political groups were formed like the National Black Feminist Organization, otherwise known as the Nbfo.
In 1973, it was born of the concern that neither mainstream feminism nor the civil rights movement had centrally focused on the challenges facing African American women. Margaret Sloan was the leader of the National Black Feminist Organization. Future Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton was one of the founders of the organization. They, with a group of other women, set forth an agenda to lead to greater political, media,
My guest tonight is Margaret Sloan.
and policy representation of Black women's issues.
But at the same time, the National Black Feminist Organization is being critiqued by other African Americans, saying that, wait a minute, what about working class women and the struggles that they're facing? But then we also have to deal with sexual identity and the oppression that queer Black women will be facing.
Out of this discourse, the Combahee River Collective was formed.
The Combahee River Collective is saying that we have to acknowledge the various sexual identities within the African American community. And they are drawing their inspiration through name and deed from the Combahee River Raid.
And they named it after the Combahee River because this was the place where Harriet Tubman helped free 700 African Americans during the Civil War.
The Boston-based collective mounted political campaigns across Massachusetts, addressing police brutality, pushing to desegregate public schools, and fighting for justice for abused and slain Black women. Though the Combahee River Collective disbanded in the 1980s, their philosophy has endured, becoming part of the infrastructure of intersectional Black feminism today.
This notion of intersectionality was later coined by Kimberly Crenshaw, but exercised amongst the Combahee River Collective in the 1970s.
Decades later, Black feminists are still fighting. Drawing upon the tenets of the Combahee River Collective, campaigns from the Women's March to the contemporary movement for Black lives have flowered and thrived.